Hello, how are you doing? My name is Otto and welcome back to the channel. This is the DJI Pocket 3 and this over here is the GoPro Hero 12. And in this video, I want to show you how they compare in terms of video quality, stabilization, low light performance, and other details to help you make a better decision if you're planning to buy one or the other. And before we start, I want you to know that this video is not sponsored by either brand. With the Pocket 3, you're going to get a camera that is attached to a mechanical gimbal, and this is going to keep the horizon level straight and it will make your videos more stable. But with so many moving parts, this is more fragile than other cameras and it's not waterproof like the GoPro, which can go underwater up to 10 meters without any special case. The GoPro 12 doesn't have and it doesn't need a gimbal because it has Hyper Smooth 6.0. And this is an electronic stabilization that makes you feel like you're using a gimbal without actually using one. And you also have an option to keep the horizon straight when you record the video. You can rotate the camera 360 degrees and the horizon will stay the same, and this is something to bear in mind because the Pocket 3 will have a physical limitation if you try to rotate the handle like this. But there is a tiny problem with the stabilization on the GoPro 12 when there isn't enough light. Your videos will have a strange looking motion blur, kind of like a vibration glitch effect, which doesn't look good. And this happens because the electronic stabilization needs higher shutter speeds to work correctly. You also need to know that if you want to use any of the wide-angle field of view, horizon level is not going to work. And this is a shame because action cameras are very popular for their super wide-angle views, even though they have a lot of distortion. So the only way to avoid this and to be able to use horizon lock is by using the linear field of view. The GoPro 12 has a smaller sensor than the Pocket 3, and this is where DJI has a clear upper hand with a larger 1-inch sensor on the Pocket 3, which is going to record videos with a higher quality. And if we take a look at these videos, you might see that it also has a higher dynamic range. The GoPro 12 can shoot in HDR to improve its dynamic range, and I feel that it does a very good job if we compare it to the standard video mode. Now, this is not to say that it will outperform the Pocket 3, but nevertheless, it's a good option to have on this action camera. The GoPro 12 can record with a high resolution of 5.3K up to 60 frames per second, with just a few limitations if you also want to use HDR at the same time. The highest resolution that you can use on the Pocket 3 is 4K, so the GoPro 12 seems to be the winner. But having a higher resolution doesn't always mean that it has a higher video quality. If we compare these two videos made with the GoPro, the 4K video is just a bit softer, but the one shot at 5.3K seems to have more noise, and I would say that there is not a lot of improvement. And compared to a video taken with a Pocket 3 at 4K, you can see the same problem when I zoom in on the GoPro 12. There is some visible noise and softness as well. And this is not to say that the video quality on this camera is not good, but using 4K makes more sense in my opinion. For slow motion, these two cameras can record at 60 frames per second, and I don't think that I have any complaints here. You are going to get excellent results with either one of them. And if you want to record in 120 frames per second, you can do so on the GoPro using regular video mode, which is going to be more flexible for editing. And with the Pocket 3, the only way to shoot in 120 frames per second is to select slow motion on the video mode. So you're going to get the video at 30 frames per second, which is already going to be slowed down, which might be a good thing for those of you who are not going to edit their videos in post. Something else that I want to mention is that the GoPro 12 can record at 240 frames per second for super slow motion, but this can only be done in 2.7K. The Pocket 3 can also record at 240 frames per second, but it will be done in 1080p. In low light conditions, The Pocket 3 has a special video mode that will lift the shadows to bring up the details, and it will apply a denoiser at the same time. And this combined with a 1-inch sensor makes a big difference. The hype is real when it comes to low light performance. The GoPro 12 doesn't have any special mode for those conditions, and all I can say is that the videos are just going to be okay. But if you're planning to use this camera a lot in low light conditions, you might be disappointed, and I feel that you should look into other action cameras if the Pocket 3 is not an option for you. The Pocket 3 can zoom up to 2x at 4K, and this can be used when you are recording. The GoPro 12 at 5.3 and 4K can only zoom up to 1.4x. Compared side by side, the zoom on the Pocket 3 does a better job than the GoPro 12, which shows quite a bit of noise. And according to my tests, it's just better to zoom in when you edit your video than using the zoom inside the camera. The Pocket 3 has some movement limitations that not everyone likes. The gimbal will follow your movements, but this is done in a rather slow way, especially when you try to tilt up or down. So if you want to use this as a point-and-shoot camera, this might not be the one for you. There is no way to lock the camera to make it turn immediately when you turn the handle around. And this should not be confused with the gimbal lock that you can activate by pressing the joystick. And even though this is the nature of having a gimbal, I keep seeing that some people have trouble getting used to it. Using the Pocket 3 for vlogging creates this background blur that creates a more interesting effect, but this cannot be turned off, and some people actually don't like this. The GoPro, just like other action cameras, has the advantage that most of the background is going to be in focus. In this case, I do believe that it's going to depend on what you like the most, especially when you're vlogging with either one of these cameras. Now, the Pocket 3 has an amazing minimum focus distance of 20 centimeters, which I was able to confirm inside my studio. And the GoPro 12 has a minimum focus distance of 31 centimeters, which also seems to be effective. So both cameras can be used for close-up shots, and vlogging is not going to be an issue because of that focus distance. Another cool detail that these two cameras have is that they can record using 10-bit color even when you're using normal video mode. The GoPro 12 has a flat color profile, but I prefer to record using the D-Log-M that the Pocket 3 has, which seems to be more flexible and easier to color grade in post. The Pocket 3 recently got a firmware update, and now you can cancel the video that you're recording by holding the record button. And this is great to avoid having a bunch of videos that you're not going to use because something did not go as expected. But it still doesn't have the much wanted feature where you can pause and keep recording like we had on the Pocket 2. The GoPro 12 does have voice controls to start or stop recording or to take a picture, which is nice for solo content creators. The Pocket 3 doesn't have that, but it does have active tracking, which is going to allow the camera to track a person or an object that you select. It's not perfect when you have obstacles around, but most of the time, it's going to do an amazing job. When it comes to the battery life, the Pocket 3 will last for about 2 hours and a half using 4K videos. The battery is not replaceable, but you can get this battery handle that you can attach at the bottom of the Pocket 3, and it will charge the main battery up to 60%. It is a bit expensive at $69, but if you buy the creator combo, one of these is going to be included. The battery on the GoPro 12 will run for about 1 hour and a half using 4K. That's around 1 hour less compared to the Pocket 3, but the battery is replaceable, and I think that they are quite inexpensive at only $25 each. GoPro, well done. Testing these two cameras for overheating was done indoors with no air conditioning or airflow. The Pocket 3 did not have any problems at 4K using 24 and 60 frames per second, which is just amazing. The GoPro using 4K at 24 frames per second did overheat at 60 minutes, and using 4K at 60 frames per second, I was able to record for a maximum of 30 minutes. And I found that the only way to avoid overheating using 4K at 24 frames per second is by using 8-bit color and a low bitrate, and that way it's going to let you record for 1 hour and a half. Now, the internal microphone on both cameras are good enough for everyday videos, but if you want to have the best quality, the best thing to do is to get an external one. The Pocket 3 can use the new DJI Mic 2. If you don't buy the Creator Combo, you can just buy the transmitter, which will cost you $100. Alright, so this is the second test on the DJI Pocket 3. We're using the external microphone. I don't know if you can see it right there. Let me try to focus that over here. I tried to use the DJI Mic 2 with the GoPro and it doesn't work, but I know that some Bluetooth microphones will be able to connect directly to the GoPro 12. Otherwise, you need to buy the GoPro Media Mod, which sells for about $80, and that's going to let you connect external microphones to this device. I know that the Pocket 3 and the GoPro 12 are different type of cameras, and choosing one or the other is going to depend on your personal needs. The Pocket 3 is an absolute champion with a higher video quality, and the gimbal is great to keep your videos stable no matter if it's day or night. But the GoPro also has a decent video quality and it's going to resist water, dust, and it's not going to need so much babysitting because it is quite tough. And besides that, it's been on sale at $350, which is a very good deal. You will find the link to both cameras in the video description. Please let me know which camera do you like the most in the comment section down below. And I hope you're having an amazing day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.